Welcome to the Dave Cave. I'm Dave, and today we are talking the movie that taught all of us that sometimes, just sometimes, one movie's enough and you don't need a sequel. And that movie is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, on top of Rob Zombie coming back to direct, everybody who survived the first one's back. Scout Taylor Compton, Danielle Harris, Brad Dourif, Malcolm McDowell, Tyler Mane, they're all back. And not all of them are great versions of their characters anymore, but they're all back. And after a interesting, probably the best part of the movie, interesting opening scene of a reimagining of what Halloween 2 was, condensed into about 10-15 minutes. After we find out that's a dream, the movie picks up 2 years later with a very damaged Laurie Strode dealing with everything that happened on Halloween night. She lives with Sheriff Brackett and Annie, and she's just trying to get through everything that has happened. What we've also found out is that Michael Myers somehow survived, and he is on the loose. His body's never been found, but he's presumed dead. I don't know how anybody presumes him dead and how he's not dead, but that's the story they decided to run with. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of complaints like that moving forward. But while I don't have a lot of fun with this Halloween, there are a couple things that I actually do like. Let's get into those right now with the good. I hinted on it a second ago, but I like the hospital scene in this movie. I know that it ends up being a dream, and that ultimately was a gigantic disappointment for many of us, because they really put the marketing on that they were going to try to redo the whole hospital. But I like how they handled it, because, especially with this version of Michael Myers, well, the version of Michael Myers from the first one, they transposed that into this one just for the first 15 minutes of the movie. But you take that version of Michael Myers, and he's not going to be the Michael Myers that was in Halloween 2 back in 81. This Michael Myers would go through the hospital that fast. You believe that. He'd get out, and he'd be to the hospital, which, that's fine. He's a quick-moving dude. He doesn't drive. That's okay. He gets there, and he just peels through people. Just gets to Laurie as quickly as possible. It's believable. Like I said, this is a monster of Michael Myers. He's absolutely terrifying, and he's terrifying in this one too. But he just peels through it, and he gets to her, he kills everybody in his path, and then in the dream, he kills her. I like that that's exactly what this Michael Myers would do. He wouldn't bullshit. He wouldn't work his way around the hospital. He wouldn't, slow play it, wear around. No. He's going to get to her, and he's going to fucking kill everybody. I dug that. I like the first 15 minutes of this movie. It's just tragic that they somehow didn't make that actually canon for the rest of the movie. The next thing I enjoy in Halloween 2, and actually I enjoy it a fair bit, is Scout Taylor Compton's take on Laurie. She crushes that role in this movie. The descent into craziness and the helplessness that she displays because she is recognizing that she's losing control. She doesn't know what the fuck is going on with her. She just knows that she is losing it. She's slowly declining. She snaps at Annie all the time. That relationship is degrading, which is terrible because that is one thing, although it does remind her of that night, it's one thing that she can hold on to. It's one thing from her past that is still alive. And she's losing that, and she's becoming this crazier and crazier person because she just can't handle what's going on. And then you get the angel reveal. The fact that she is Michael Myers' sister, and she learns that by reading Loomis's fucking book. Again, we're going to talk about that asshole. But you have this scene where she just has to read it. And she's in her car, and she reads it, and she's by herself. And she has nobody to deal with this. And she just can't. And you can't. Imagine finding that out. That somebody tried to kill you. Somebody you have no idea who they are. 2 years later, you find out they're your older brother. Holy shit. That is real bad fucking shit right there. The way she handles that, because I think Scout Taylor Compton is a very gifted actress. She does a very good job in this movie, and I'm glad that they chose her, because one of the things that works so well about her tragic take in this is because in the first one, she plays such a sweet, innocent, nice girl, and juxtapose that to what happens in this movie, it tears at your heartstrings. The way it all unfolds and you just see this degrading version of a person because of what happened, because of this fucking guy. It's rough. Now, there is another part of this movie that I like a lot, but we're going to save that for when we talk about the kills. So we're going to switch gears now and get into what I don't like about Halloween 2 with the bad. I think it was an absolutely horrible idea to introduce the whole white horse thing and Michael talking to his mother and all of that extra shit. I understand that they wanted to go into more of the idea, the psychology, the whatever of what really made Michael do what he did. But they didn't lay any groundwork for it in the first one. It's like they did everything they wanted to do in the first one, which is fine. Go watch my review. I liked the first one. But then you have this version, this movie, this turn on Halloween 2, where it's tacked on. It really is. Because you have all this extra shit that we didn't need. And that didn't need to be in this movie. If you recut this movie and take out all the white horse shit, all of it, it'd be perfectly fine. I understand you'd get a little bit weird at the end with the shed and Michael holding Laurie, and that'd be confusing. But if you recut this movie completely, or reshot it, and you took out all the white horse stuff, and just had hobo Michael walking around trying to get to Laurie, killing all these people in his path, and just having fun with it, it makes sense. It'd still work. Sometimes, just sometimes, it's okay to just have a killer be a fucking psycho killer. We didn't need anything extra. I understand it's not my story to tell, but we didn't need anything else. In the first one, it's just Michael was trying to get to his sister, and he didn't want to hurt her. He got to her, and then she fucking stabbed him. So yeah, dude's gonna be a little pissed. So he goes after her. And then 2 years later, he goes after her again. That works for me. He got tossed from a van randomly. He doesn't know where he is. He's a guy that is just, while he does figure things out, he's a guy that is pretty mindless. He wouldn't know. If you were in a random car accident and you didn't have a phone or anything like that and you were just tossed out into a field somewhere, presumably, you wouldn't know where the hell you were or how to get back to where you wanted to be. It could take you 2 years to get back to your hometown. It's very possible. He's not a guy that is going to talk to people. And with the whole white horse angle of it, I don't like that it makes Michael into this schemer with his mom's vision that, okay, it's not about killing Laurie, which it was by the end of the first one. It's not about killing Laurie. It's about bringing her in and making her crazy and breaking her down mentally and killing her friends and doing everything that we can so that she becomes crazy like we are. It doesn't land for me, and because I don't like it, every time that it pops up in this movie, it's like one of these fucking scenes again. It takes me out of it. And now, if you do like those, obviously, you're going to enjoy a majority of this movie, but because I don't like them so much, they happen so much, and this whole movie, my experience with this whole movie, suffers because of it. Now, the next thing I don't like about Halloween 2 is the fact that Rob Zombie decided to make Dr. Loomis a fucking asshole. Because you have everything that happens in the first one. And presumably he would be traumatized. Michael tried to kill him. We thought, at least I thought, at the end of the first one that he was dead. And then he's back in Halloween 2 and he's basically profiteering off of all the crazy shit that happened. Absolutely. He is a dickhead character and he's an egotistical dickhead character. You don't like Loomis in this movie. That wasn't a good choice because when you get to the point where Michael kills Loomis, you don't care. At all. Because he's an asshole. He becomes a character by the end of this that you want to see die. You're kind of looking forward to it like, hey, maybe Michael's going to kill Loomis in this. Like, you want it to happen. Never in the other Halloween movies, and I don't mean really to compare them, but never did you want to see Loomis die. And you didn't want to see Loomis die in the first one. When he's presumed dead in the first one, it's like, oh, well, fuck. Because you like him. He's a doable Loomis. And I don't mean it that way. But in this one, that whole kill scene should mean more. because they spent all this time together. Loomis did all this stuff to try to get to him and try to save Laurie and try to stop Michael, and everything he did all over all these years in the relationship that even Loomis talks about, that's, his relationship with Michael is longer than his third or second marriage. It should matter, and it doesn't, because they bitched out Loomis. And now the last thing that I don't like about this movie is actually going to have us switch categories, so let's get into the ugly. If I didn't have a section that was completely devoted to talking about the kills would be in my bad column for this movie. The vast majority of the kills in this movie, I don't enjoy them at all. It's like Michael Myers was let off his leash, but with Rob Zombie's thoughts, and what we get is a majority of kills that, sure, you can get kills that are brutal, but they're cool brutal. The kills in this are like disgusting, gruesome, brutal. They're not fun. They're not like, oh, that was a cool way to kill somebody. They just make you uncomfortable. Michael stabs the shit out of a lot of people. It is unsettling, which I understand. That's probably what he was going for. A much more brutal, gruesome, just fucking, Michael. That's fine. But I don't like it. And yes, not every kill is brutal. Sometimes it's the Wolfman kill. Sometimes it's the Harley kill. It's one stab, a couple stabs, just being strangled. That's fine. Those actually are easier for me to handle. They help break up the he's, breaking this dude's arm and, stabbing and smashing someone's face in and throwing a dude through a windshield and killing a guy in antlers. Like, dude, we get it. You're fucking brutal. And as I'm going through this movie, I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, I don't like any of these kills. This is going to be very hard to pick a favorite. And then it happened. So my award for favorite kill of Halloween 2 goes to Annie Brackett. Michael Myers is going through his terror. He's getting to all the people, and he gets back to Sheriff Brackett's house. Annie is by herself because he has killed the cop that was on guard for her. And what you get is a scene that you have to imagine what happened. I don't know if it was intentional, but it's a callback to more of what you get in the original Halloween, where it's much worse because you don't see what's going on. Because you don't know exactly what happened between Annie and Michael. All you get is audio. You get a slow motion, little bit of chase, and then they find Annie. And unlike my other favorite kills in these whole series that I've been reviewing, this kill, I enjoy it because it's well handled and it's so emotional. Because then you have Laurie find Annie, like I was saying. And that's emotional. That's fucking... And then, Laurie has to run from Michael. But then you have Sheriff Brackett find his daughter. And I'm getting a little personal for a moment, but I didn't have a daughter when I first saw this movie. Now I do. And holy shit. Lump in my throat, tear at my heartstrings, watching Brad Dourif respond to seeing his daughter dead. That fucked my shit. I wasn't expecting it. I remembered that it was coming, but I wasn't expecting it to hit me. And it hit me. And I'm very glad that after having her survive the first one, that Rob Zombie didn't just brutally kill Annie in a one-off, gruesome kind of, maybe split her open, some kind of gross shit that we could have gotten. No, he cared about it, and he made it an emotional kill, as it should be. It's a very hard kill for me to watch, so bravo. And now for my final thoughts on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. This was the first time that I had actually seen this Halloween since seeing it in theaters, and only recently did I buy it, and I was hoping that the time away was going to fix things, because I knew if I didn't buy it back then, there was a reason for it. And I had little memories of what this movie was, but then in watching it again, I'm bummed to say that I didn't like it, because I really did like the first one. A lot of what the first one does, I like the switch on it. I like the way Rob Zombie handles it. And then he fucking goes off into right field, and he loses me. I understand he lost a lot of the fan base with what he did in this movie, but I wanted to. I wanted to like this one, because when you take out some of the shit that I said that I don't like in this movie, it works kind of well. You can have it fit together. Scout Taylor Compton, like I said, she kicks ass. Tyler Mane, when he's just being Michael Myers, he's a great Michael Myers, this one and the last one. He does that shit perfectly well. But Rob Zombie made all these decisions that really, for me, are very confusing. But in that, I will say, I believe that Rob Zombie did exactly what he wanted to do with this movie. I don't think that this is not what he wanted. This is what happens when you let Rob Zombie have a Halloween movie. I understand that the studio was in there a little bit more on the first one, and that this one he was a little bit more allowed to be kind of off his leash. I am glad, actually. I don't usually like the idea of studio meddling, but I'm kind of glad that studio meddled on him. Well, folks, there it is. I've reviewed all of the Friday the 13th, all of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, and all of the Halloweens. You're probably saying to yourself, Dave, you haven't reviewed Halloween 2018 yet. Not for this series, I haven't, but I've actually reviewed it twice. I have links to both of those in the description below. Go watch those before we get to Halloween night, because on Halloween night, I will be releasing a video that ranks all 31 of these bitches. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, 31 to number 1, least to most favorite. That's going to be some fun. And if you maybe want to get a couple spoilers on where some of those might fall in my ranking, go watch them. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, rest of the Halloween series, and watch Halloween 2018 in my description below. All those are in there. Go have fun. And while you're down there, I do have links to my Instagram and Twitter. They're both at @TheDaveCave_. Post over there when I'm not posting here. And that is going to do it for me today. If you enjoyed this review and this review series, please don't forget to drop a like. And if you haven't already, to get ready for the 31 on 31 ranking, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to get back to working on that. You go watch those reviews. Thank you so much, as always, for stopping by the Dave Cave. I will see you back here on Halloween night. But until then, take care.